What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here. Welcome to our daily show where we discuss the fourth stimulus package update, stimulus check update, daily news, everything going on here in our country in Washington, D.C., with the economy, money, investing, with the stock market, everything you need to know about on a daily basis. Happy New Year's. Let me know if you did anything exciting for New Year's, if you just stayed at home. My wife and I and my son Julian were on last night, wishing you guys a happy New Year's. If you didn't see our special guest appearance, I'll link you to the video from last night, and our New Year's resolutions were in that. Let me know if you have any New Year's resolutions here down below in the comments of this video. Do you think you'll be able to keep them? Most people let their New Year's resolutions kind of slide, but we're moving past 2021. See ya. 2021 kind of didn't live up to it. We thought that it would be better than 2020. It was a tough year for a lot of us. The pandemic has kind of dragged on. 2020 and 2021 kind of felt the same. Kind of felt the same. And 2022 is not really starting off that great with the virus at all-time highs. We've set records here for the last several days in a row of 2021 of all-time high positive cases here of in the U.S. of how many people are testing positive, and it's probably going to continue here for several days here into 2022. So 2022 is going to start off with a bang, and it'll be it'll be interesting to see here what goes forward into 2022. Let me know what you think is going to happen here uh, into 2022. Where do you think we'll be by next New Year's Eve? Do you think we'll still be dealing with this virus as anywhere close to this capacity? Do you think it'll have died down? It's kind of crazy to think that here we are another year and we're still dealing with this. Yeah, so hopefully by next year, I'll be saying Happy New Year's to you and we'll have this thing under control. But yeah, several New Year's Eve celebrations were actually canceled across the world, but several New Year's Eve celebrations did go on here. You can see a couple pictures here. Here is Sydney, Australia. Absolutely beautiful there in Australia. Parts of Australia actually had a 242-day lockdown this year. Quite amazing to think of that. Here is New Zealand. Pretty cool. And of course, New York City did have their celebration. I watched it. Let me know if you watched it. Of course, they had a limited capacity. Everybody had to wear masks except for a couple of the entertainers and presenters. And everybody had to be vaccinated as well. Have to show your card at the door. And they had the ball there as well. I believe they said it was 12 feet wide. Yeah, quite the ball. And here in Shanghai, China, not really much of a picture there, but yeah. North Korea, some fireworks there, and Paris, France, a lot of people gathering there. I mean, a lot of these celebrations just have a lot of people here. And Madrid, Spain, over there in Europe, and Poland. So worldwide celebrations still going on here across the world. A new study coming out of the UK, this is not out of the US, finds that the Omicron virus variant has a lower risk of hospitalization than Delta and says that vaccines provide good protection. The study analyzed more than 528,000 Omicron cases and 573,000 Delta cases from November 22nd through December 26th in England. The UK Health Security Agency found the risk of hospitalization for people infected with the Omicron variant is about a third of that posed by the Delta variant. But we really have both of them still here in the US, so there's really no way to know which one you could get if you do get either one of them. And the new UK study found that the vaccines reduced the risk of hospitalization for the Omicron variant across the board, though a booster dose provides the best protection. Again, this is based on a UK study, not from the US. So, yeah, there you go. Dr. Fauci says that the US Omicron wave could peak by the end of January. So potentially maybe 4 weeks from now, as it turns, he says, quote, as it turned around very quickly in South Africa, that will be just the peak. So that means we still have a couple weeks at least to go uh, as kind of a prediction. And we know that we have like 500,000 cases per day right now of people testing positive, and this is not even including the at-home tests because those don't get reported to the government. This doesn't even include people that can't get tested because tests are sold out nationwide in all sorts of capacities, not everywhere. But if you go to CVS or Walmart, first of all, those are at-home tests, so those tests don't even get reported. And if you do get one of those tests and test positive, they don't get reported. If they're sold out, they don't get reported either. So none of those tests get reported. So think about all the people that even go to get those tests, or they go to get those tests and they're sold out. None of those cases are even being counted. So how many people are actually positive on top of the numbers that are being reported? Who knows? We just know there's a lot of people. There was almost 2 million people that were reported tested positive in about 4 days here just in the US. So there's a lot of people testing positive right now. It's going crazy. And this is really why we're seeing both Republicans and Democratic lawmakers kind of pushing for more stimulus measures, more virus relief measures, more funding measures. We're seeing states run out of supplies. We're seeing Texas ran out of the monoclonal antibody treatment, and we're seeing a lot of this in all sorts of different states here where they're running out of different things here. And we have the new virus pills where you can take it after you test positive from both the Merck and Pfizer. The problem is that they only have a few thousand of these, and with 2 million people testing positive in just a matter of days, they're not even close to having the amount of uh, the amount of supply for the demand. So and that's kind of where stimulus packages, because remember that there's funding for the virus there, and all sorts of different things. We talk about stimulus checks, we talk about virus relief, we talk about money for the people, we talk about money for the economy. And when we look at the amount of planes that have stranded people, they don't even have they don't have people to man the planes right now because people are sick. They can't go to work. And just this one kind of news story has really hit the news. People that work for airplanes, we talk about crew, we talk about staff, we talk about pilots, we talk about stewardess. The crews that load up the planes, do the luggage, all everybody that works at the airports, right? They simply don't have the manpower to do it, and there's been thousands of planes that have been canceled here in the U.S. and worldwide. It's not even just in the US, it's all across the world. There's been over 10,000 planes now that have been canceled since a few days before Christmas worldwide. So, yeah, everybody seems to forget here that it's not just the U.S. There's in fact the world hit both a record in one day and for a 7-day moving average as well. So it's not just the U.S. hitting record cases right now. And this just kind of exacerbates the call for more stimulus, for more funding, for people, for the economy, for states, for um, virus supplies, for everything, right? And that's the whole reason why we have stimulus packages, stimulus checks, virus funding. That's 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 literally the reason why stimulus check 1, 2, and 3, stimulus package 1, 2, and 3 exist. And we actually have Republicans and Democrats calling for it. And when they come back this week, we're going to see a lot of kind of flurrying of them talking about this because we really need it right now. It's at its worst. So think about that. It's at its worst. And check this out here. This new article just came out here yesterday. Biden and Manchin, President Biden and Senator Joe Manchin, kept discussing the Build Back Better bill after Manchin's public rejection. And a lot of people are saying that Senator Joe Manchin basically kind of said that as just a negotiating tool. And Biden has actually talked with Joe Manchin several different times over the Build Back Better package after that. And that's why Biden has actually come out publicly and said that they're going to get a deal done. And Joe Manchin actually, a lot of people said that he probably just did this as a negotiating tool to walk back the progressives so that they're not leaning so far left, because Manchin kind of leans right a little bit, and they're using this as, or Manchin's using this as a tool here, a public negotiating tool. And that after Joe Manchin came out and publicly said this, Goldman Sachs, which is one of the major leaders when it comes to economic forecasts, a huge major bank here in the US, cut the economic forecast for the entire country here after he, quote, rejected the Build Back Better plan. And Joe Manchin actually got a lot of criticism for that because the entire economic forecast for the country got cut after that. And then actually several other forecasts here cut the forecast for the US as well for 2022. And Joe Manchin actually took a lot of criticism for that. And Joe Manchin did not take favorably to that, according to some reports and some insiders. Um, Apparently. So, and that's why the talks with President Biden actually came out and said he thinks that they're going to be able to get a deal done with Senator Manchin. Now, there's a couple different things here. We have Democrats calling for another stimulus package after this, or even before this. We have the emergency stimulus COVID relief package being called upon as well. Whether or not that will come before the Build Back Better package, they'll get the Build Back Better package kind of done as a maybe different workup, slightly different to kind of appease Joe Manchin, and then do a virus relief package, or they'll do a virus relief package first. Whether they'll do a virus relief package with the Republicans to get some funding done, whether they'll do executive orders to get pieces done as well. There's multiple different package or passages or different paths forward here as well. Republicans are in the mix now as well. Republicans have publicly spoken out. We have Mitt Romney and a couple other ones as well that are saying they're actually in favor of the child tax credits, especially now that they have expired and the last payment for December 15th has gone out, and now there won't really be a January 15th payment because there won't be enough time to get it out. Okay. So there's some Republicans considering doing a standalone bill with Democrats, but of course, if Republicans do that, they'll probably want to change the game a little bit and maybe put work requirements in there, or maybe income requirements or income thresholds or something like that in there. Mitt Romney and some Republicans actually have their own versions of child tax credits. Interestingly enough, Mitt Romney's bill or his proposal actually pays more for the child tax credits. It's $250 per month for children over the age of 6, which is the same amount per month. But for children under the age of 6, is actually $350 per month instead of $300 per month. So it's actually $50 a month more. But there's some other restrictions in there. I believe he has work requirements in there. Whether or not that would require both the mother and the father, if you have a married filing jointly tax return, That remains to be seen. Again, this could all be up for negotiation if they end up going that route. Okay, if they just get Joe Manchin to come on board, they could pass it without Republicans. They might go the route with Republicans. They could go the executive order route. There's multiple different paths going forward. And again, child tax credits are just one slice of the puzzle. We have millions of people calling for stimulus checks for adults as well. We have student loan forgiveness being called upon. President Biden has said in the past he'd be willing to do $10,000 for everybody with federal student loans. They did just pause federal student loans for everybody with federal student loans, which is about 95% of all student loans are now paused. All the payments, all the interest, all the garnishments are now paused all the way until May 1st, which is like about 5 more months. So that is a huge help for anybody that has student loans. We have rent assistance, we have mortgage assistance, we have utility assistance all going on right now. I'll link you to a video on that. We got a lot of things. We got states, cities, counties passing state stimulus checks, state stimulus programs. Almost every other day, I have another state announcing some type of stimulus check or stimulus program going on the state level. So, really, 2022 has a lot of different possibilities just for stimulus. And of course, there's all sorts of crazy news going on here on any given day here. In fact, check this out. Tesla, the electric car manufacturing company, is going to be recalling 500,000 cars due to hoods that could fly open while driving and faulty backup cameras. That is going to cost a lot of money. Yeah, 500,000 cars. So they're going to have to recall this. Now, Tesla stock has already been under a lot of pressure here recently because Elon Musk, the world's richest man, has been selling a lot of stock recently, billions of dollars worth, before the end of the year, before his stock options expire. He also kind of did this poll on Twitter where he polled his followers whether or not he should sell all this stock. But he kind of had these stock options where he had to kind of cash them in before the end of the year as well. And that has kind of drove their stock down a little bit. But honestly, once he kind of stopped selling, which should be here soon, he actually just sold a little another $1 billion worth here recently. Tesla stock's probably going to go back up, honestly. But stocks have just been had a phenomenal year. You can see here, stocks could ride the 2021 tailwind into the new year, but the upcoming jobs report and the Fed will be in focus. The Fed has said they're going to raise interest rates potentially 3 times in 2022 to try to help curb inflation and raise interest rates just slightly 3 different times in 2022 going forward here. So that would raise interest rates a little bit, 3 different times on anything that pays interest. So your savings accounts would pay more, but also credit card interest rates would go up a little bit, mortgage interest rates would go up a little bit, car interest rates would go up a little bit. But the reason they do this is because it helps curb inflation. And we know inflation is a problem right now. So that's the reason they raise interest rates. If you don't understand interest rates, that's just kind of the gist of it. When they raise interest rates, it does help curb inflation. So it brings inflation down. It's just kind of the easiest way to explain it. But the S&P had an absolutely amazing year, which is the stock market. Basically, it's just one of the main index for the stock markets. The S&P 500 stock market index ended the year with almost a 27% gain, and honestly, when inflation tends to run high, stocks tend to do well. So it was a good place to have your money. If you had any money invested, if you had a 401k, if you had a pension, if you had money, your retirement money in the stock market, it was a good year for you. So yeah, that's kind of hopefully it'll happen again for 2022. Because remember, about 50% or more of all Americans do have money in the stock market now. So it's a lot going on here. We have inflation to deal with. Stocks are doing well, but we have this new economic forecast that says 2022 is not going to do well. So who knows what's going to happen here going forward. But the other problem is we have this virus, which is just, by some indicators, at its worst. So who knows what's going to happen for 2022. Uh, Honestly, at this point, anything could happen. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I will keep you up to date because it's like rolling the dice. Uh, we'll find out, right? So make sure to subscribe down below. It's completely free to do so, so you don't miss out on new videos that come out here on our YouTube channel every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I will keep you up to date here with everything. Click here to watch my video from yesterday. My wife and my son are in that video, and with our New Year's resolutions, you definitely want to check that out if you haven't yet. And this video shows you how to get up to 12 months of rent assistance, get your rent paid, get your mortgage paid, and get your utilities paid, up to $1,500 of utility assistance. So click on one of those videos next. Thanks, guys, and I will see you in the next video. And Happy New Year's.